Alright guys, welcome back to part 2 of getting the valve covers stripped and painted. Sorry we ran out of time to get it fully finished in one video, but yeah, sometimes things fight back, which we are finding out I think is going to be the name of the game with the Aristo. It's going to fight back a little bit. It's just old, 27 years old, it's been sitting a lot. It had some, decent miles on it. Not crazy. It's like 60,000 miles. But yeah. So now, let's flip you around. Check this out. All right. So valve covers are off. I didn't bore you with the taping of the valve covers, but this is going to be coming out eventually. And then I've already got the PCV valve out. Now, guys, this is what old rubber does. I had to fish this out from inside the valve cover. Old PCV valve. Seems to be in pretty decent shape still. But yeah, you can see the condition of the valve covers now. Pretty yucky. So we are going to strip these completely and then let them dry overnight and probably paint them tomorrow, maybe. We'll see how things go. And all right, so hopefully the weather holds out and we can get these things painted tomorrow after they've had time to dry, because basically when you use this stripper, you want to wash it really good with like a soap and water, and then you want it to dry. And then we will prime it, paint it, clear it. So let's get these stripped and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so this stuff is really nasty and it works really well, but make sure you don't get it on you or it's going to burn like crazy. And you can see it is flaking that paint up, making it look good, or I guess making it pull all the paint off itself so we don't have to do a bunch of sanding and a bunch of work. So I'm going to let this stuff sit. It takes a little bit for it to work. And then you just scrape it off with a scraper and then wash it really good. So let this stuff work. Alrighty. I decided to do 2 rounds because the first round didn't quite get everything and it could just end up being corrosion. But you can see this stuff just peeled that paint right off. Now, I don't know what this sticker's on with, but it is on there. Looks like I got a little bit more going. But I'm going to scrape these and then I'll end up washing them really good and then taking a Scotch-Brite and a wire wheel to them to get any excess, anything that's left over off. Then they'll get primed. Alright. Well, I got that second coat scraped off. And believe it or not, I think what I'm seeing there is not more paint, but actually the corrosion that's been almost, I won't say neutralized, but it actually like pulled the corrosion off with it. So hopefully once I get these things washed off really good and take a wire wheel to them, the etch primer should clean them up really good. So pretty excited about that. Should let these things clean up really nicely and let the paint lay really flat. I don't see any real pitting or anything, so it was obviously just a little bit of surface corrosion where it was like picking up, like it was like peeling up all the original paint and all of the like powder coat or paint or whatever it is that these things are coated with. It seems like it was paint. So yeah, you can see these, like most of it's down to like raw aluminum. That sticker still didn't come off. That one, I'm gonna have to really scrape at that one. I did take a picture of it because I might get a new one made just to go back there to kind of give it, again, OEM plus type feel. Alright guys, so the last step is going to be to wash these really good with like soap and water. That will neutralize the stripper, and then probably check all the masking that I've done and make sure that it's all good. I might actually replace it and then prime it and then let that dry hit it with the base coat, do a couple coats of that, and then hit it with a clear coat. Probably 2 coats of clear. Hopefully these turn out really nice and have a little bit of sparkle along with the like OEM gray type feel. So I'm gonna get these washed. I'll show you guys once they're dry and ready to paint, and then we'll probably time lapse the paint. So, all right, guys. So I was kind of wrong about the stripper neutralizing the corrosion. Now that I washed it all off, you can actually see a bunch of white starting to show back up. All right, so basically, since that corrosion is showing back up pretty quickly, I am going to need to hit these with a wire wheel to knock off as much as I can, then hit them with the etch primer once they're dry. So I wiped them all down, but there's obviously going to be a little bit of, like condensation left over just from washing them, and I did just wipe them off with like a paper towel. So I'm going to let them air dry, hit them with the wire wheel, then wipe them down with some like wax and tar grease remover type, pre-paint stuff, and then we'll get these things etched pretty quickly, let that dry. All right. Well, there was a lot more corrosion on these than I originally had thought. It knocked a ton off. Used a different couple shape wire wheels on these. Knocked as much off as I could, which is pretty much all of it. They turned out really good. That will eventually come out. I think I'm just going to leave it in there, kind of just to be able to, I don't know, maybe I should take it out. I might take it out. I might take that out before I actually paint it. But next step is to hit it with the wax and grease remover. This is Duplicolor. Yeah. So I'm going to wipe these down, get them ready to be primed. Technically the paint that I'm using has paint and primer, but I like to use etch primer to seal aluminum. And it's obviously dark out, but we're going to paint. Man, I don't know if you guys can even see this, but I think these are going to turn out awesome. Pretty close to factory color. That's just the first coat, just to cut everything in. I have used I've used the coil pack cover bolts to plug all the holes so I can get some more paint on those and some clear so they'll match. Like I said, this is just the first coat, but there is a lot of flake. I don't even know if you guys can see it, but I sure can. And it's going to look really good, I think. I'm going to let this dry, this first coat dry for just a second. Let it tack up a little bit, hit it for the second coat, and kind of lay it on a little bit thicker this time. And then I guess I'm going to hit it with some clear, depending on what this looks like. I'll probably hit it with clear, be honest. Why not? Alright guys, so I'm a little bummed. I did end up clearing these. One, I ran the clear on one of them. 2 of them, actually, it looks like. There's a spot like right here, and then there's like a long spot over there underneath. But the clear isn't really clear, it's like satin. So I might try to like kind of like compound or buff this a little bit, like take some polish to it once it's dry. Honestly, it pretty much looks like the factory color with the finish that's on it currently. So not bad, but I really wanted them to like shine and, metallic paint. So I really wanted it to be a fairly fairly glossy and metallic look, but I mean, you can kind of see the metallic a little bit in there. But yeah, so not bad, but we still have a little bit of work to do once they dry. We need to install the radium pieces here and here. I'm going to grab those and like show you guys what I've been talking about, because I still haven't showed you those. Alright, so this is what I've been talking about right here. You guys can see here, they have 2 different ones for these things. This one here is for the exhaust side, which I guess all of the 2JZs have the same exhaust side, whether it's VVTi or non-VVTi. So they're both the same. Now, I guess this one here, fits a bunch of different things. Basically anything that uses that similar PCV that was in this one with the big rubber grommet allows you to use this. So like even like Camrys and stuff, you could technically use this if it has the right size. You can read right there, it says 18 millimeter. So once you pull the grommet out for the PCV valve, it'll be 18 millimeters, and this guy will press fit in. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what all the models there are. They actually list a bunch on their website. I'm going to put a link in the description for these guys. I got these from Turn 14. So, yeah, Turn 14's like a wholesale reseller. So if you have like a business, you can sign up to potentially purchase from them. But yeah, I was able to get these guys. Now I have a lot of Radium parts on my drift car, and these are no different. Super high quality, made in Oregon, I think. I think they're in Oregon. I should know that. I don't, but pretty sure it's Oregon. It's out west somewhere, but they're made in the U.S. The engineering's great. Like I said, I've got a bunch of parts on my drift car, and I wish that I had had access to these before I like drilled and tapped my 1J valve covers for pipe thread. These would have been much nicer, and they're shorter. Look how short those are. Those are going to be great. So that's what I've been talking about, but link in the description. Those guys need to dry. Once they dry a little bit more, I'm going to take all the masking tape off so that it doesn't like dry to it and then peel the paint. All right. We're gonna have to do take 2 on the painting. Let the paint dry overnight and came out, and the clear coat dried really hazy. I tried to polish a little bit, and basically it did not come back at all. Probably due to the amount of moisture in the air last night and the fact that it was kind of cool. Paint is chemistry, so if you don't have all the right stuff going on in the air, it's not going to do like it's supposed to. Basically, I tried a test piece on another fitting that I just had laying around, so with a different type of clear, and it looks much better. So I'm going to use, I basically resprayed, I wiped everything down, resprayed the base coat of the metallic gray, and now I'm going to put a different brand clear on top of it, but I did test it to make sure it wasn't going to like react and, you know, wrinkle the paint all up, because that can happen if you use different brand paints or different paint types. So keep that in mind. Always do a test panel or part or whatever, so you don't screw it up. So I'm gonna hit this in with some clear, let you guys check it out after I've put all 3 coats on. Alright guys, good news. Round 2 came out much better than round 1. So much more glossy with a different clear. So we need to get them back on the car, but first the Radium fittings need to be popped in. So I'm going to do those. I'm going to try to set the camera up so you guys can kind of see. So I'll obviously be using new gaskets and everything like that, which I already have, thankfully, with the new grommets. And yeah, so first thing, get everything pressed in and get the new gaskets on. Make sure everything's clean on the cylinder head. Put it all back together. That way we can see what it looks like. Put it back together. Alright guys, I don't think that could have been much easier. These things just knocked right in. No problem. Like I said, I will not be welding on valve covers ever again. Way too easy. It is a huge savings in time. And really, if you're paying somebody to do this, you're going to have more money in having somebody weld on your valve covers, especially if they're already coated and everything. So Radium Engineering. Like I said, I'll have a link for these guys in the description. And yeah, so fittings will go this way. This one will probably face towards the back. And then this one's going to face forward. I don't know. We need to put this thing back together. New gaskets. Get it put back in the car. All right. It's a bit of a chore, but back together. Coils are back in. New little connection breather hoses are in. You can see both of the Radium fittings. Now I'm going to tell you, if you guys have stock twins on a JZ, a 2J in particular, this is very tight. It does clear, but you can see light. That's about it. I unbolted this bracket because, I mean, it's not really totally necessary. The lines are pretty sturdy. There's a bolt right here. But I did go ahead and do that because you cannot get a wrench or a socket on that bolt once this is in here. So I did all that, got everything put back together. Anything that was vacuum related, as far as lines, got replaced with some silicone line from, I think it was Vibrant that I had some left over. But with these valve covers, make sure you tighten them down a little bit at a time. Use 1/4" drive and the smallest ratchet you have, and just do like 10 passes on all the bolts starting in the middle and move your way out, or you will break one of the corners. So if you start feeling, you can always tighten them up more. So you have fresh gaskets in there. They're not going to dump oil everywhere, but just, get them snug and then just work your way around until they all feel about the same the same amount of tightness. Yeah, so got to put the charge pipe back on. There's a nut down in there that I have to tighten back up that was holding the wiring harness that went here. I had to do that to get the valve covers up. What else? I got to plug a vacuum leak over here where the PCV valve used to be. I already plugged the intake manifold. Not the intake manifold. I already plugged the twins intake that drew vacuum through the other side. Those are going to be just open to atmosphere until I can build the catch can and make the lines. So they'll be fine just for, the drive to the shop. That's going to be the next drive that it makes. But I need to get everything put back together. I'm going to just lay the plug cover on top. I'm not going to tighten it all down. Mainly because it's going to be coming back off very soon to do the timing belt and all that. One reason it's going to the shop. So, finish doing everything. I'm going to go over everything, make sure that I got it all tight and capped if it needed to be capped. Alright, I decided to put the coil cover all the way back on because I do have to drive it. So, I think it looks awesome. Looks great. Fixed a bunch of leaks. Fixed a bunch of potential leaks. We put new plugs in it. Got the new Radium fittings and the valve covers, and now we can make the catch can and have the lines not be going into the intake manifold and lowering our octane or going into the front of the turbos and blowing it all through the charge pipes. So cleaner, much cleaner, honestly. It cleaned everything up, makes everything else look like crap. Alright guys, that's going to be the end of this video. This probably turned into, it's at least 2 videos now, and I might have made a third, I don't know. Yeah, so cleaned up a bunch, did some maintenance, new Radium fittings. I'm excited. We're going all in on this thing. Parts are finally finishing coming in, and the next few videos are going to be pretty cool. Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of information, a lot of how-tos, and some style stuff, which of course everybody's excited about. Fixing stuff. I mean, this thing is coming together quick, and then we're going to go to North Carolina in it. So, I'm excited. See you guys soon.